And as I was saying, when we all thought that after considerable agitation and incessant demand for the Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta to just leave the finance ministry, and we all thought that he had wreaked enough havoc and that he would go in peace and quiet. Latest intercepted documents reveal that he will have none of that, and that he will give us the final blow.
Really?
He left that ministry with a vengeance. So the documents, copies of which I brought here, show that 5 days to his leaving, the reshuffle was on the 14th of February this year, the Valentine's Day reshuffle. The Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta shockingly approved a $34.9 million ambulance spare parts deal. And on that same day, instructed the Controller and Accountant General to release the equivalent of $10 million for that deal.
Hold on, $34 million.
$34.9 million just for spare parts.
Spare parts?
Yes.
For what specifically?
For the ambulances, the 307 ambulances that President Akufo-Addo commissioned.
That was commissioned somewhere in
2019.
2019.
Yes. So let me read the letter. 9 February 2024. Re-establishment of letters of credit in favor of MS Service Ghana Auto Group Limited to procure spare parts for 307 units of ambulance vehicles. Please refer to the Ministry of Health letter MOHKA 317/17/01 dated 6 December 2023 on the above subject. We write to acknowledge receipt of your request for an amount of $34,904,505 US dollars, pardon me, to $34.9 million US dollars for the procurement of spare parts for the maintenance of the 307 Mercedes-Benz ambulances purchased in 2019. This ministry is only able to fund up to the tune of $10 million out of the amount requested, and recommended that the Ministry of Health finances the difference through the NHIA, counting on your usual cooperation. So this is addressed to the Minister for Health, the Honorable Ajima Meno. Then, on that same day, 9 February 2024, Ken Ofori-Atta, in this letter, signed by him.
So, forgive me, the first letter you read was also from the Finance Ministry?
Also from the Finance Ministry. And it was addressed to the Minister for Health, approving the $34.9 million request and saying that they will finance $10 million and that the National Health Insurance Authority should finance the rest. So on that same day, they write to the Controller and Accountant General, and it's signed by the Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, the establishment of letters of credit in favor of MS Service Ghana Auto Group Limited to procure spare parts for 307 units of ambulance vehicles. Please refer to the Ministry of Health letter number, I've already read the reference, dated 6 December 2023 on the above subject. Authority is hereby conveyed to you to release the sum of $10 million to the Minister of Health to enable him pay for the procurement of spare parts for 307 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter 305 CDI ambulances. The amount of $10 million being the equivalent of 120,711,000 Ghana cedis, when converted at the exchange rate of 1:12.0711, should be charged as per the attached specific warrant. The Controller Accountant General is also requested to arrange with the Bank of Ghana to establish letters of credit to the tune of $10 million, which amounts to 120.7 million Ghana cedis, when converted at the exchange rate above. By copy of this letter, the Chief Director, Minister of Health, is being informed that any unforeseen charges that may arise because of this transaction will be charged to the Ministry of Health's 2024 Goods and Services budget. Thank you. I have also tracked further, and I have all the payment vouchers on this transaction from the GiveMe system. And it confirms that very promptly, and I'll leave copies with you, that very promptly after this letter, by the 23rd of February 2024, this 120.7 million Ghana cedis had been released to Service Ghana Auto Group Limited. Now, what is interesting is that Service Auto Group Ghana Limited is a company registered over a year after the ambulances arrived. No real track record.
Okay.
April 2020, the ambulances had been commissioned by the president sometime in March of 2019. Yeah. Then, what is even worrying is that the Auditor General decided to carry out a special audit. That special audit is available online. Listeners can go on the Auditor General's website. It's called the Performance Audit of the National Ambulance Service. Performance Audit. The Auditor General shockingly discovered that this arrangement, this MOU which was signed, this contracting of this company, Service Ghana Auto Group Limited, which was done uncompetitively, they were just handpicked. According to the Auditor General, and I've quoted copiously from the Auditor General's report, they say, one, this company engaged in inflated invoicing. Their invoices were inflated. There was no value for money. Two, the Auditor General discovered that this company does not even have adequate staff, and that there were several instances where they got staff of the National Ambulance Service to do the servicing. Can you believe that?
What year was this special audit done?
It was released on the 25th of May 2022, so 2 years ago. The Auditor General also revealed that after going through the entire arrangement, this arrangement did not inure, to use their words verbatim, it did not inure to the benefit of the National Ambulance Service. They didn't follow the maintenance schedules, and they did not follow the servicing procedures. So in other words, Ghana didn't get value for money. This is the same company, if you recall, that was responsible for that viral video a couple of years ago, where ambulances sent to them for servicing, they use it to carry cement. This is the same company. And this is a company that, according to the Auditor General, they didn't even have their own garage. They were using state assets. So, very damning audit. How on earth will any minister who loves the country, who values value for money and due diligence, after this audit report, and all of us are giving copies of this audit report, particularly the Ministry of Finance, all ministers are giving copies. The Ministry of Health will have a copy. All MPs were giving copies of this audit report. The audit report is still available online.
Is it the performance audit report of the Director General on fleet management of the National Ambulance Service?
Exactly. And you go through, there was even a recommendation that this company pays back money to the state. That is how damning the report is. Now, after all of this, what we expected is that this contract will have been abrogated so that you look for some better company. There are so many auto servicing companies in our country with impeccable track record. Instead of this, as usual, and the same modus operandi. Let's hurriedly call our cronies, let's set up something, and no competitive process. I bet you if it was a competitive tender process, this company would be nowhere near this transaction. But you see, what even makes my tummy, ache, and I'm just sick and depressed, is that when you break it down, $34.9 million is $113,000 per ambulance. I went online, and today you can order fully equipped brand new Mercedes-Benz, even more modern than what we have for less. And I've put up in my write-up, I've put up a number of websites that people can go to and check. You can just Google the cost of a brand new ambulance. So why are we spending $113,000 on spare parts when we can actually get a brand new fully equipped ambulance? Meanwhile, this company, according to the GIFMIS assessment I have done, we have already, between 2020, when they were brought on board, to 2023, in 3 years, we've already paid them 150 million Ghana cedis.
For maintenance?
Yes, just maintenance, servicing. 150 million. So if you add that 150 million to this $34.9 million, we are talking in excess of over 650 million, which is twice, actually more than twice, how much we paid for these ambulances. These ambulances arrived at $54 million, according to the minister. That's what she told the press at the time, Special Development, Honorable Hawa Kumsin, that it cost us $54 million. If you look at the exchange rate at the time, what this company is benefiting so far is more than twice the value of these ambulances. So we are better off buying new ambulances. I mean, did we buy these ambulances to save lives, or it became another crate, loot, and share scheme? It's unbelievable.
An argument has been made that if you were to buy all the spare parts for a particular vehicle, the amount you would spend on buying the individual parts to make up that same vehicle would cost you more than to buy the vehicle itself, because the individual parts are sold, at a premium. And that if a company is being asked to do maintenance, they are required to basically buy every part that would be needed for a particular vehicle, because you don't know which one will break down. So an argument is being submitted that is why it costs more per ambulance.
Kojo, I know you are playing the devil's advocate. Look, you are going to service based on the state of our ambulances. For some, it may be a battery change that is required. Others, you may have to probably change the engine. Maybe for some, it's a vulcanizer issue, So you can't tell us, because in my constituency, my ambulance is functioning. It's in top shape. And we all commended the president for the One District, One Ambulance initiative. Except that at the time, we didn't know that it will lead to another crate, loot, and share scheme. So you cannot tell us that you are buying every part. As if we are trying to assemble, we are trying to, remake these ambulances. So please, I mean, what's happening in this country? I mean, some of the schemes you just go through, and it's like, look, at least if you put in an effort, try and cover some things up small. I mean, what's this? We spent 150 million already. Then we are going to spend $34.9 million.
What do we know about this company, this Service Auto company?
Yeah, so I have secured the articles of incorporation. They were incorporated 24th April 2020. And the directors, we have Osman Inusa, Khalil Dauda, Stephen Okoro. And that's one thing that also features strongly. You see a lot of Nigerians in this whole arrangement. Mohammed Nurulak, another Nigerian. There's Charles Oponchecheku, Samuel Bannerman, Alvin Mensah. Reading up on these directors, I wonder what due diligence was done, because there's some of them who have issues in the courts. One is an ex-convict and all of that. It's not clear what kind of due diligence was done. But yes, so that's it. April 2020, this is put together. More than a year after the ambulances arrived, and others were not given the chance to competitively participate in this whole ambulance servicing, deal.
There's something about the timelines that I want to confirm. So the contract itself was signed 5 days before Valentine's Day 2024.
Yes. The instruction to to release the funds.
Right. Not the contract, but the instruction to release funds.
As for the contract, it appears that since 2020, as soon as this company was formed, they were given the contract to start servicing.
To do servicing.
So for which 150 million cedis has been paid already cumulatively.
Right. So this money was for spare parts.
Spare parts, yes.
Okay. And so it would appear that the contract is signed between the company and which ministry?
Ministry of Health.
Ministry of Health.
Yes. But the Auditor General, if you read this performance audit, says that the company also has an MOU with the National Ambulance Service.
Right.
Yeah. Which is an agency under the Ministry of Health. Yes.
So why is the Finance Ministry coughing up an initial payment? Is there an explanation as to why this arrangement involves two ministries?
Very brilliant question. And you see that the finance minister, because of these concerns, then says that, okay, our ministry will take care of $10 million, and the rest, the $24.9 million, use your National Health Insurance Authority. And you see, increasingly, and I've raised this in Parliament time without number, I am disgusted at the misuse of the National Health Insurance Scheme. You are having all kinds of side issues being imposed on the scheme. Meanwhile, that is not the fundamental mandate. If you list the priorities that health insurance should be taken care of now, it is not things like this. It is not things like this. I mean, already claims are not being paid. You have a real challenge with medical equipment. A lot of the doctors living in droves, the nurses living in droves, will tell you that it's not really even about the salaries, just equipment to work with. If we can have our equipment, our MRIs, our other imaging facilities, even sometimes gloves, our lab equipment, our reagents, we will love to stay and help our fellow compatriots to be well and hearty and stay alive. So you have the scheme being abused. The last time, just listing digitalization initiatives, 2.6 billion for this year alone. That's what we are going to use, and a lot of it duplication between Ministry of Health, Ghana Health Service. They are just jumping over themselves. It's just a procurement gig going on. And now, per this instruction, midnight instruction, last day instruction, send off package instruction from Ken Ofori-Atta, we now have to prepare for our health insurance scheme to be saddled with another $24.9 million on something that, if we had listened to the Auditor General and been minded to act on the many infractions of this company's contract should have been abrogated, and they should be nowhere near servicing our ambulances.
Well, we've got more questions for Mr. Okudzeto Ablakwah. I'm sure you have too, so use the hashtag JoySMS when you send them through to us. Looks like another day, another scandal. Well, this time around, it's about those ambulances that were bought in 2019.
And I just want to ask a question. So I look at paragraph 74 on the performance audit. It says, we also noted that from January to August 2020, the National Ambulance Service engaged workshops outside the 5 listed workshops that had standing contracts with the service. We observed, for instance, that the National Ambulance Service referred the maintenance of the ambulances to Luxury World Auto Group Limited, and in some cases, Service Ghana Auto Group Limited, both of which the National Ambulance Service did not have any agreement at the time. During that period, the National Ambulance Service did not refer maintenance works to the accredited service providers they had an agreement with. The procurement of these workshops was not in accordance with PPA regulations, while the absence of an MOU with Luxury World and Service Ghana Auto Group Limited meant that the National Ambulance Service and these service providers had no defined obligations on service delivery. In addition, records from the Registrar General's Department revealed that Service Ghana Auto Group Limited was registered on the 24th of April 2020. Therefore, from January to April 2020, when the National Ambulance Service referred maintenance works to Service Ghana Auto Group Limited, it was not a registered company with the Registrar General's Department. And details on Mercedes-Benz Sprinter ambulances maintained at Luxury World Auto Group Limited and the Service Ghana Auto Group Limited prior to the signing of the MOUs. But it continues that, furthermore, Service Ghana Auto Group Limited was registered to do business in the sale of motor vehicles, motor vehicle parts and accessories, but not maintenance of vehicles. Thus, Service Ghana Auto Group Limited did not have the required expertise or skill and labor for the maintenance of the vehicles, and this was evident when we visited and inspected the workshops. Service Ghana Auto Group Limited had 1 staff at the National Ambulance Service Workshop in Accra and 2 at Kumasi Workshop who specialized in air conditioning or electrical works only. And it continues and says, 8 months after doing business with Service Ghana Auto Group Limited and 5 months after the company was registered, the Ministry of Special Development Initiative signed an MOU that's on the 10th of September 2020.
Yeah, 8 months after.
So we pay for
Yes.
services
Yes.
from January to September 2020?
Yes, we're busy
Without
paying.
a contract.
Without
Without
a
a
contract.
contract.
Yes, I have all the give miss records here. We're
And in
paying.
Without
fact,
the
from-
PPA
Yes.
authorization?
Yes,
And in fact, from January to April, we
Yes.
did so even though they were not even a company.
they were not a company. They were not registered. There was no agreement with them. And when you come to paragraph 80, management response, management had no challenge. It says management of National Ambulance Service has agreed to the findings and recommendations for implementation. So they didn't challenge any of these audit findings. And yet Ken Ofori-Atta and Ajima Menu think that this is a company they should keep dealing with and give them another $34.9 million.
Now,
I mean, what is happening in
I'm
this
curious
country?
about something, because the National Ambulance Service admits that currently they have about 85% of their fleet functioning.
Yes,
So we have about less than the 300 functioning.
yes.
In fact, in this report, it talks about the fact that by 2021, 16 of them were not functioning.
You're right. They had accidents.
Accidents and all of that.
Yeah, totally broken
So
down.
we're paying
So
for 307 spare parts.
when we don't actually have 307 vehicles. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know what those papers will be used for. Well, maybe Kojo, they may bring you a fee.
I want to understand something, if you know. So, how did they come by? I mean, I want to understand how they came by the agreement on this $113,000 for
Yeah.
each ambulance. How did we do that assessment?
They have to be telling us, because you see, I've tried to find out, been scrambling all over the place, if there's any supporting document, because sometimes what we intercept at controller comes with supporting documents, but with this there were no supporting documents, because when there are supporting documents, the instruction will refer to it, but the instruction didn't refer to it. So look, this whole contract with Service Auto has been dubious from day one. Cronyism, they just handpick favorites. Look, in this country, we have authorized Mercedes-Benz dealers for years, and we all know them. We have established car maintenance and servicing companies, from Toyota to Mechanical, Lloyd, you name them. So this is clearly an opaque arrangement to just create loot and share, as the Supreme Court judge said. Because you can't explain this in any way. Look at management response to these damning findings. They had absolutely no response. They said that they will comply, they will implement the findings. As we speak, they have not told us if the refunds they must go for from this company, they have done that. And ideally, this company should have been blacklisted. I mean, because look, you don't even have the staff. You are using staff of the National Ambulance Service. Meanwhile, you collect the money. You are being paid.
So these staff actually, according to the Auditor General's report, the staff are on the ambulance services payroll. And they are paid by the National Ambulance Service.
Yes.
And yet the service they rendered in the repairs of the ambulances is charged the National Ambulance Service by the Service Ghana Auto Group Limited.
Yeah. Incredible. And before this $34.9 million, we have diligently, dutifully paid them 115 million Ghana cedis. We pay them promptly. If you look at see how fat this is. These are all payments to them.
Meanwhile, there are people
68
queuing up.
pages.
There are people whose companies are collapsing because government is delaying payments.
They have done genuine business. They have their own workers. They are complying with our laws.
They have delivered on the contract.
They are not being paid. They have to lay off workers. What's happening in this country?
When you think about this, I mean, of course, once we certainly need to hear from government on all of these issues. But if you think about it, the analogy is that you've hired someone to clean your house, but you're cleaning it yourself.
Yes.
And paying the person, every month. And in fact, overpaying the person.
I don't know if they have some witchcraft powers. They bewitched the officials in charge of the ambulances. I mean, because you just can't explain. That is why later today I'll be going to the Office of Special Prosecutor, because they have to take this up. I mean, they must commence investigations into this. This is horrible. This is horrible. At least from our tracking of the payments, only $10 million has been paid so far. If the OSP acts, we can save some $24.9 million.
So you're petitioning the OSP?
Yes, I'm petitioning the OSP later today. Because this cannot continue.
Has anybody offered an explanation from the relevant ministries?
Well, we are still waiting. We are still waiting for them. Maybe you should call the health minister. I don't know if one of
I know that our news team has been trying to reach the former finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta. We will get word once they are able to get through to him. Also, they are trying to reach Kwikwa Menu. Yes, and if we are able to reach them, we'll certainly let you know.
I mean, this should not have been Ken's parting gift to us. He shouldn't have done it. Look, he has wreaked enough havoc. We are still taking his haircuts. Isn't it enough?
Well, I mean, he didn't want to leave. He said he was our father and wanted to stay and do a job.
I don't know what kind of fatherhood this is.
Well, while we have you, we might as well talk about all the other things that are making the headlines, in this area of governance. And, this one is huge reputational damage to the Republic of Ghana. These so-called Paralympic